Hello, my name is Cameron Kars. I'm a Partner Solutions Architect with Microsoft's Global Partner Solutions, and today I'm going to be presenting a Modern Analytics Academy vignette. The reason for these vignettes are to do topical sessions that address new features, frequent questions, and any updates to previous sessions. Today's vignette is going to be getting started with Fabric Real-Time Analytics. These Academy sessions fall under 5 pillars in analytics. Today we're going to be looking at acquisition and storage, as well as visualization. The agenda for today is a demo of how to get this all set up. So without further ado, let's jump right to it. All right, for this demo today, I've got a event hub that is going to be streaming some data to our Fabric instance. It's basically just fake stock market data, and we're going to take a look at that. So what I've done here is I have a container instance running a Docker container, generating that fake data, feeding that into this event hub, and then I've gone ahead and created a Fabric capacity to run this all in. So let's jump over to Power BI. You can go to app.powerbi.com. I've made a workspace. I've assigned it to that Fabric capacity, and we're ready to get going here. So the first thing we need to do is to create a new KQL DB. This is going to be the database that's going to ingest that Event Hub data in real time and spit it back out for Power BI to ingest in a format that it can do in real time. So I can come down here to more options, and I've got all my different things here. Real-time analytics, kind of where we're going to be sitting for a bit here. So this KQL database, let's click on that. Let's give it a name. So I'll just call this stock market KQL DB and create. Now, one of the first things you'll probably want to do is once you have this KQL DB set up is to come to this option here, OneLake folder. The default is inactive, but you'll probably want to set this to active. What this means is that anytime records are written to this KQL DB, it's going to write those records back out to the OneLake and Fabric as a Parquet file, so they can be used by other resources. Otherwise, KQL just has a kind of first in, first out policy, and there's a set number of records that it stores. But this way, you can store the whole history of everything that gets streamed into this. So I'm going to set that to active, and I'm going to hit done. And you can see that that's active, and I can copy the path into the OneLake if I need it for later. All right, now we're going to get data for this KQL DB. You can come down here to click Start by Getting Data. I'm going to do Event Hubs, but you can come up here. There's lots of options for one-time data loads, but if you want continuous data, there's data flows, pipelines, Event Hubs. For this demo, we're doing Event Hubs. So let me come here to the Event Hub. So it's the destination. I'm going to do a new table called Stock Market Table. The source type is going to be Event Hubs. We're going to create a new connection here. We're going to need the namespace for this Event Hub. I have that right here. We're going to need the Event Hub name itself. I have that right here as well. Then the connection credentials. We're going to create a new connection. So this name is going to just automatically create. It's going to be the endpoint. It's going to be that namespace followed by, if it will load, there we go. The entity path, which is the Event Hub itself, and then the consumer group inside of that one. So that's the name it creates by default. So the authentication kind, we're going to do a shared access key. So I have in that Event Hub, I'm just going to do the root manage shared access key. You'll probably want to create a different key in the future. And then I've got the SAS key here as well. Should I paste it appropriately? Yep. Save that. And so that should give us a success. So the data connection name is fine. The consumer group is default. Under here, more parameters. This will be an interesting setting here. Is this event retrieval start date? So basically, when you create this, it's going to just go and get whatever data the Event Hub starts creating the minute you set up this connection. This Event Hub's been running for several hours at this point, so I kind of want to get all that data that I've missed in the past several hours, or maybe days, whatever the situation is. So I'm going to set it to basically go back. And you can tell if you change the date, this might cause ingestion latency while older records are ingested. That's understandable. But I've only been running it for a few hours, so it shouldn't cause many problems. Next, we can go to the schema here. You can see it's going to try and load a preview of that data that's streaming into that Event Hub. And so you can see that the data format it's doing is text. Well, our data format is JSON. So let's go ahead and change that. And you can see we have here the symbol for the stock, the price, and then the timestamp that it occurred. So we're going to give that a mapping name, nested levels for the JSON file. There's only one level in this format. You can ignore data format errors. There shouldn't be any in this. So it's going to go ahead and go off and create that. Awesome. All right, so I let that run for a few minutes. You can see the row count is obviously increased. We can query the table itself if we want to, take a look at it. You can use SQL. You can do the KQL. So, for instance, I'm just going to say, just show me any 100 records so that we know we got data. Take a look at what it looks like here. Yeah, there you go. You can see we've got our stock symbol, the price, and the timestamp. Great. So the next thing that we can do with this is we can create a KQL query set, which is basically going to be running a KQL query on top of this table that we want to maybe add some information, edit columns, whatever you want to do before ingesting this into Power BI. So if I come here to home, I can do a new related item and do a KQL query set. And I'll just call this stock market KQL query set. And I have actually already made an interesting query here. So what this one is going to do is this is going to look at the stock market table, order it by the timestamp ascending. It's going to get the price difference for the stocks looking back at the previous stock. So for instance, if the WHO stock was $20, then it went down to 18, the price difference here would be $2. And then of course I'm rounding for the decimal places. I'm also doing a percent difference. So let's run this. So you can see these first ones that came in, they're not going to have a price difference or a percent difference because there's nothing previous to them. But you can see here, for instance, the WHO price dropped $57, 986.16 to 929.04, about a 5.8% difference. And then I have all of this data now in addition to the 3 columns that I had before. So the query sets are a great way to add columns if you need to do calculations, that sort of thing. But now that we have this query set, I kind of like this information that we're working with here. So now it's time to build the Power BI report to do the real-time analytics. So I can come right up here. I'm going to save this query set. I'm going to build a Power BI report right off of clicking a button here. And I can do it all inside this menu here that's going to pop up. So what it's doing on the back end while it's loading there, it's creating the Power BI data set and then the Power BI report itself. So I'll just add a couple visuals on here. I find the other editor to be a little bit easier to use. So let me come in here. We'll do timestamp on the x-axis. We'll do price on the y-axis. We'll do the legend will be the symbol, the stock symbol. And you can see, whoo, very volatile market there. But then, of course, we want to see how many records we're looking at in total. So I'm going to add a count here. And I'm going to do no units so we can see the exact number. And I'm going to save this, and I'm going to open it up in the other editor. So let's just call this stock market report. And I'm going to save it to the workspace that we've been working in. Great. So I'm back in my workspace here, having saved that Power BI report. I'm going to open it up here in the editor, a little easier to work with. I can come in here and I can click edit right away here. So what I want to do is I want to say, okay, it's interesting to look at the data this way, get the entire history of it. You can see where everything started, where it's gone. But I'm only interested maybe necessarily in the maybe last minute. So I can do a relative time here in the last 1 minutes and then apply that filter. As you can see here, we have a more interesting look kind of at the data. And then the other thing I can do is I can set this up to have do the page refresh, because you can see that I'm not getting any new data. This was a little bit ago, but I should be getting data every second with this Event Hub. So what I can do is I can set up this page refresh. I can set this so that this whole page is not going to apply to the whole report, but just this page. I can say page refresh on. I want it to auto refresh this page every 1 second. If I click the show details here, you can see that this is a setting that has to be enabled by your admin. The admin interval is 1 second. The actual rate ends up being about 1.3 seconds because of the delay in loading the visuals. And you can look at when it was last refreshed. But you can see here now I've actually got my data crawling along the report here. You can see the count of my symbol constantly going up. Should go up by about 7, 10 records every second. And you can see here, you can follow the stock price in real time. So like if we take a look at this top one here, it's it's falling a little bit, going back up, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And now I can save this. And now the report is done. So I can come back out here and I can go to this report, and I can put this report inside an app, inside a dashboard, anything like that. And this is exactly what the customer is going to see, this sort of real-time report where they're getting the real streaming data from Event Hub. So just like that, up and running from the data in Event Hub to Power BI, getting a real-time report in a matter of minutes. Super easy to do. I'll show you one other thing, the admin settings. So when you come in here to the admin portal, you have to go to capacity settings. You want to go to that fabric capacity. This is the one that is all running on. Go to Power BI workloads. And this is where you'll find the minimum refresh interval. The automatic one is 30 seconds by default. So if you want it shorter than that, you have to change it. This is just so that the admin can decide how often a refresh is really necessary. If it's every 1 second, great. If that's not necessary, they can change it to whatever they want the minimum refresh interval to be for those types of reports, just to prevent people from using too much of the fabric capacity's resources. If everybody has a report that's refreshing every 1 second, it could be an issue. So if you don't have admin access, you'll have to reach out to your admin to get them to change this for your capacity. But otherwise, you are good to go with your real-time report. And that will wrap up the demo. Thanks again for watching. To see more content like this, visit aka.ms/MAA. Thank you.